Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Five Questions with Paulist Fathers. We love to talk to people who are affiliated with the Paulists, but are maybe not Paulist priests, let's say. And so today we're going to go out to the, as I like to say, the hinterlands of New Jersey. My wife's family's from New Jersey, so I get to say that. And Deacon
We have
Drew
hinterlands.
Deacon Drew Dickson is one of our Paulist Deacon affiliates. And Deacon Drew, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
I'm fantastic and very, very pleased to be here. I love these sessions. I've been watching them for a while now. They helped get me through the pandemic.
Wow, that's nice for you to say. Thanks. Hey,
No, you can do a good job, and I love listening to all the other people, including and especially the Paulist Fathers and some of the Paulist Deacon affiliates.
Let's bring other people into the conversation. Hope that they get something out of this with question one. What's one thing that attracted you to the Paulists and their spirituality? Like, how do you get into this this relationship with the Paulists?
One thing. Well, do you mind if I don't answer your question the way you posed it? Can I say more than one thing? More than, I mean, I think the first thing, if somebody asked me to describe the Paulist, and it's very important to me and why I got involved, is just the joy that you find among the Paulist Fathers. They are just happy priests doing the work that they do. They seem to be happy with each other. And it was just very attractive to me. And the whole spirituality, to name more than one thing, of the devotion to the Holy Spirit, and to reach out to the people on the margins. Before I got involved with the Paulists, I had heard of the Paulist Fathers. Living in New Jersey, I knew about the Paulist Press. That's just something that I had picked up on. I had ordered books from the Paulist Press in the past. But when I began to hear, frankly, I heard about Father Stuart Wilson Smith. And the way I heard about him was, I do have a small Twitter account. Deacon Drew on Twitter, and I began to follow Father Stuart, and I just loved the way he talked about things, and I thought he had a great sense of humor, and I began to interact with him a little bit, and he interacted back with me, and in the midst of one of these interactions, he said something about the Paulist Deacon affiliates. He said, we do have a program for Paulist deacons. And I went, you do? And he directed me to the website. I found the website. I called Father Frank DeCiano. And because I am in New Jersey, it was rather convenient for me to get over to the Mother Church, St. Paul the Apostle in New York City. Met with Father Frank, and one thing led to another. And for some reason, they found it within their hearts to accept me into the program. So I don't know if all that is what you really needed to know, but it's the basic reaching out to those people that other people and other Catholics, let's say, don't necessarily reach out to. Sure. And it's that sense of the Holy Spirit being within each one of us, and the indwelling Holy Spirit, as we like to say, together with the joy. And that's what it was. I mean, this getting to know the Paulist came at a critical time in my faith life. It was about a year, or maybe a year and a half to 2 years before the pandemic. But I'd been a deacon for about 20 years at that point. And frankly, I was looking for something to help me re-energize. And this did it. This definitely did it.
Cool. So question two, what's one way that your ministry changed in this post-pandemic time now?
My ministry has not really changed that much, other than to become a little bit more re-energized. In the pandemic, we had small groups I was running in the parish. We had a prayer group I was running in the parish. I was doing most of the baptisms. I'm the only deacon in the parish, and it's not that large of a parish, and sure, there's not a lot of help, but that all came to a stop. I decided this was a good time for me, quite frankly, to take a sabbatical and even dive deeper into my own spirituality. So I'm out of that now. I'm back. I'm preaching. I've always been very, very lucky with pastors who let me preach, invited me to preach. I'm on the rotation every weekend. A lot of my deacon colleagues here in New Jersey, and I think across the country, probably don't preach quite as much. Some do, and some don't. I'm a lawyer, trial lawyer. I'm comfortable on my feet. I'm comfortable talking in front of people. And I think that helps. I also give very short homilies, and I think that helps everybody. So, but all that came to a halt during the pandemic. And my parish was, my pastor did get a Facebook account and began to live stream his masses. But as I said, but we were closed like everybody else. And so I did not go. My wife and I both contracted COVID early on. Not a bad case. We were very, very lucky, very blessed by God, I guess. Although I shouldn't say that. And I don't want to digress too much, Mike. I don't want to take too much time. But in that whole pandemic thing, it was a big question for me. And I went to Father Frank DiCiano about, like, what do we do about this thing that's hurting so many people that don't deserve it? Nobody deserves it. Nobody deserves it. But so many good people, got sick who might have been trying to do better. And he was very instrumental in helping me through that. And what I learned from that, though, is that God doesn't pick and choose who's going to get sick. I knew that before, but when you live it, like, it became a lot more apparent to me that God doesn't choose who gets sick. So I'm back out now, and I'm preaching again. I'm baptizing again. I've opened up the prayer group again. And so in the terms of the way it's changed, I think if anything, I'm just a little bit more intense with it now, spending a little bit more time as my legal career winds down, and I'm being able to spend more time as a deacon. I am looking to get more involved the way the Paulists are in the internet, social media, if you will, how to get the word out there to people who might not be able to get out of their home, or who might be more attracted if they see you on YouTube or on Facebook or something. I still don't have a Facebook page. That's not true. I have a Facebook page so I can follow the Paulist, but I don't friend anybody, which makes me look like a really unfriendly person. So, anyway. So I don't think the ministry itself has changed as so much as I'm trying to broaden it a little bit, if you will, and go out and do a little bit more of the Paulist evangelization type work.
Cool. So question 3, personally speaking, during COVID, was there, what got you through? Was there a comfort food, a TV show, a book, something that you started to love during that time that you hadn't before?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love to cook. My wife is a great cook. So we were home all the time. So we spent a lot of time trying to cook, not trying to cook, but cooking, grilling. I do everything out on the grill, fish, vegetables, whatever. So that gives me comfort. I mean, it was just a comforting thing to sit down and just chop garlic for 20 minutes. It takes your mind off of the bad things going on around you. But in terms of TVs, I'm a big reader, so I read a lot of books. My favorite authors, mostly mysteries and things like that. But the one TV show that my wife and I really got into, and unfortunately, it's a limited run. I think there were 3 seasons. And I'm probably going to mispronounce this word, is Stitzel. I think it's Stitzel. It's a program about. I think that. I don't want to say describe these people the wrong way. Ultra Orthodox in Israel.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just well done. The stories were great, and at the end of it, I mean, it leaves you with tears in your eyes. It was just a wonderful series. So that was one thing that really helped us get through. So that cooking, eating, reading, and a little bit of Netflix. We had to increase our Netflix account. We had a Netflix account, then we had to get Amazon Prime, then and Hulu. You had to. So to look for all those things that kept us busy at night.
Exactly, a bunch of platforms get you through, right?
Exactly.
So question 4, you've been a deacon since 1981, right? And
Yes.
yeah, so what's your favorite part about being a deacon?
Oh, I started 1999, not 81.
Oh, 90.
What was 80? 81 significant in my life too, but my favorite part about being a deacon, wow. Well, I like all the things that I do. Baptisms are great. They're just, it's wonderful to do baptisms. I'm doing more wake services now, and it's hard to say that that's great, but it really does put you in touch with people at a critical part in their lives. I had a priest who was one of our teachers who taught us eschatology in my formation, Father Anthony. And he said one thing that just has always stayed with me, and I think it's so important. When he was a young priest, he went to his first, I think it was his first awake. He had known the family. He'd been in the parish maybe, I don't know, just a few days or a couple of weeks. And then somebody he had gotten to know passed away, like the father. And he went and he was going to be this great priest and say all these wonderful things. And he sat down with the widow, sat on the couch with her in the funeral home in front of the casket, and opened his mouth and just started crying. And he said he felt like he just wasn't being a good priest. And they cried together. And then he said, "I'm sorry, I can't say anything that's going to make you feel better." And she said, "You're just here with me. I just love the fact that you're here with me and that you feel what I feel." And, it makes you think about, I don't want to get too preachy on about it. It makes you think about the story with Jesus and Lazarus. Yeah. And Jesus wept. And I've always remembered that when I can't think of anything to say, if I can just shut up and be with a person, then maybe that's going to help. So the favorite part of being a deacon, I'll tell you what it is. It's coming to me as we're talking. It's the fact that being a minister helps the minister. When you do the work, or try to do the work, no matter how clumsy you may be at it, when you're with people trying to do the work, it comes back to you. Last Sunday, the gospel, they didn't dwell. It doesn't dwell on this. But Jesus had sent them out. Remember, don't take money. Don't take any money. Don't take a sack. You can have a pair of sandals. And that was 2 weeks ago. This week they came back, and it says, or last week I should say, they came back. And the first thing we wanted to do was tell Jesus everything they did. And that's the way you feel when you do ministry. You want to share that feeling because it comes to you so hard. To me, I'd say that's the best thing about being a deacon.
Cool.
I get more out of it probably than I give, but I'm sorry.
And so finally, question 5, you've been a lawyer for a long time. What's one way that your skills as a lawyer has helped you in your ministry as a deacon?
I can help both of us remember 1981, I became a lawyer. 1999, I became a deacon.
Got it.
I knew it was a significant moment in my life. I've been a lawyer. Well, I used to do a lot of trial work, and now I'm doing mostly mediations. And people like to make lawyer jokes, and I do too. There is just so much material to make a lawyer joke about. But frankly, lawyers are called to do what ministers are called to do, and that is to find justice. Yes, you have to represent your client to the best of your abilities. But that doesn't mean that you lie or you cheat or you steal. It means you put your client's case up so that somebody, a judge, can make a decision as to who's right and who's wrong. But part of that process is to advise your client. If your client is totally wrong, you need to tell your client that. And hopefully by doing that, you can help your client get to a better place. That's kind of influenced the way I am. There are listening skills involved, and that's so huge in ministry, so huge. And if you want to make fun of a lawyer, you can start right there. If he's not listening, if he wants to tell you everything about how important he is, then that's problem number one. It's a sense of just trying to get to the right place. So sometimes people, when they found out I was a deacon, those who knew me as a lawyer first, like, how do you rectify this? How do you put them together? I never found it hard. I never found it hard because I never wanted my clients to do something that was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah. No.
I'm not saying I was a perfect lawyer. You know, I lost a couple of cases.
And I'm sure you're not the perfect deacon either, right? You know.
Well, maybe, but no, absolutely. You know, that's the thing too. And I am absolutely not the perfect deacon because I have met some guys who really are. You know, I have just met. That's inspiring to me. I mean, the other Paulist deacons. I mean, there aren't a lot of us yet, but hopefully we'll grow. And Paulist Deacon affiliates that I've met, and I was able to share some really quality time with them in Lake George about 2 weeks ago. And boy, those are good deacons. I mean, I understand why they got in the program. It makes me go back and question what I'm doing here and what I need to do to up the game a little bit, because they are just really care about people and God and the people and the people of God together. So that's just such a blessing to me to be able to be around that, honestly.
In all things humility, right? Yeah.
Cardinal Tobin showed up at my parish once, and after the mass was over, it was in the summertime, and everybody was pretty warm, and we wear all those vestments. So as soon as the mass was over, I got water. And I wasn't thinking about being a deacon, but I got water for him and my pastor, and I handed them both water at the same time while they're talking. And Cardinal Tobin said, a deacon who knows service. And I said, yes, I'm very proud of that too. And Cardinal Tobin said, and I'm extremely proud of my own humility. It was very funny at the time too. I mean, it was a great line. He's a good one, Cardinal Tobin.
Well, Deacon Drew Dickson, this has been just delightful having you on the program. Thanks for all that you do. Thanks for your work as a lawyer, and also your work in your parish as well. And thanks for hanging in with the Paulist affiliates. It's a great fledgling program in the Paulist, and I hope to join it one day. I'm in formation myself. So
you know, and I'm aware of that, and I think you would be a fantastic addition. I mean, I think if you were to join us, then we'd be better. We'd be better.
And I will be extremely proud of my humility at that point.
Good. It's something we should all strive for. Pride in our humility.
So, folks, this has been 5 Questions with Paulist Fathers. I'm Mike Hayes. He is Deacon Drew Dickson. So check him out on Deacon Drew on Twitter. And I am God Googler on Twitter as well. So we hope that we'll see you all again soon. Take care.
Bye-bye. It was great. Thank you.